Let's make a layered taco bake. I've got about a pound of lean ground beef, so I'm just going to add some oil to this so that it fries up nicely, and we'll get that nice and crumbly. While your meat is browning, you want to heat your oven to about 350. You're going to want to get a can of beans. I've got black beans. You can use whatever you'd like. I've got a can of seasoned diced stewed tomatoes. We've got some shredded Monterey Jack. This is about 6 to 8 ounces. I don't want to use the whole 12 ounces, but you could, depending on how much cheese you like. I've got some canned corn. I'm also going to add regular yogurt, non-fat Greek yogurt. Greek yogurt can be used as a substitution for sour cream, and since I'm out of sour cream, we will be using this. We are going to add some taco seasoning to our meat once we add the onions, and when it's all done and baked, we're going to add a little of our salsa. We will also be layering with some tortillas. These are flour tortillas, and we'll heat those up before we put them in our baking pan that we're going to bake our dish in the oven. So you can see the meat is almost browned. It's a little bit red. I'm going to now add in the onions, and we're just going to cook that for 3 minutes or so, just to get it mixed in and a little bit translucent, just to cook that ground beef through and to tenderize those onions. I did go ahead and drain any liquid that I did have left in my burger. You can see the onions are now nice and translucent. And now we're going to add, I've got about 3 tablespoons or so of a taco seasoning. We're just going to sprinkle that on. Add however much you like. I'm just kind of judging by what would be in a regular taco packet. And I'm going to add 1/4 of a cup of water to that. And that will just evaporate. It'll add the flavor in. And you can taste your meat to see if you want to add any more taco seasoning, or maybe you added too much. But you decide on what your flavor is for adding your seasoning. Alright, we're going to add in our can of black beans, and I did not drain the liquids from here. I did drain the can of corn. We're just going to stir this all up. And I did not drain the tomatoes. We want some liquid, but we don't want too much. And we're just going to let this simmer. We're going to get it nice and evened out cooking-wise, kind of just get it all nice and warmed up so it blends together. And then we'll go on to the next part. It's all coming together very nice. While this was cooking, I decided that one of my toppings, I was going to add a little green. Since I don't have any lettuce, I decided to take a stalk of romaine hearts, and I'm just cutting it up, and this will be part of my topping that we'll put on our bake once it's done and we're ready to serve. I've had the dish cooking for about 7 to 10 minutes, just depending on what you've added to yours. I just wanted to get everything incorporated well. I'm going to remove it from the heat, and then we're going to start with we're going to start by cooking our flour tortillas. Well, we've moved over to the stove because when you use your new wave cooktop, you got to have a magnetic bottom. We're going to get our pan nice and hot, and we are going to put our tortilla in the pan. We just want it to puff up a little bit, just get it warmed up. We're going to do that with all 6 of them, and I'm just going to put them in the pan when they're done, cover them with a towel so that they stay warm. And you can see it's starting to puff up a little bit. We're just going to we just want to brown them a little bit. And then we will go on to the next one. See it rising? Okay, let's start the next. I'm making this in a 9x13 pan, and I did go ahead and put some parchment paper in there so it's nice, easy cleanup. We've got our flour tortillas all nice and crispy. We're just going to put them in a pan, and we're just going to layer them on the bottom like that. I'm going to do 3 approximately to a layer. And then we're going to spoon in, about half the burger mix. And only because we're going to, well, it won't be half. It'll probably be a third. We're just going to put it on. We're just going to layer it with like we would lasagna, really. And I'm going to do a layer of cheese in between. Just kind of spread it out. There is no right or wrong. And you can add more cheese. You could add any other kind of cheese. I'm just going to break this one apart. And go ahead and get the rest of that in there. So I did use half on the bottom, the first layer, and I'm using the other half on top. And I did save some cheese. And then we're going to bake it in the oven. I've got the oven at 350, but I think we're just going to let it sit in there for maybe 10 minutes. We just want it to, meld all together with the wraps or the burritos, floured tortillas. And finish it up with some cheese. Get that all nice and melted in together. Okay, let's get it. I'm going to put it in the oven for about 10 minutes. Okay, our cheese is melted, and we're just going to bring it to the counter and serve it up. So if you're looking for a meal that can feed your whole family, that's satisfying and filling, this is something you could try, and it'll go a long way. We're just going to cut a chunk out of here. All right. And here we go. And you can try different toppings with this. I'm just going to add a little bit of the romaine, just a dollop of some yogurt, the Greek yogurt, and a smidge of some hot sauce. Let's give this a try. I guess we could have made the flour tortillas a little crispier, but it'll do. The tortillas are crispy enough. This is rather flavorful. Just enough heat, not too much. I think everybody in the family would enjoy this bake, so I hope you give it a try. Thanks. And I just want to add, you might not want to add the parchment paper. It did tear a little bit on the bottom, but next time I wouldn't add that. So just know that.